past life regression session. So just let me open the presentation here now. Please let me know whether it's visible clearly. Okay.
We are able to see. It's clear.
Is it coming full screen, or do we need to make any adjustment in this?
I think this is good. We can go.
Okay. If you want me, I can increase the size if really required.
Yeah.
Sure. Fine? Okay. So this is the presentation on the science of past life regression and why it is such an important and powerful tool to awaken the hidden potential that exists within each and every one of us. So first, I would like to express my gratitude to my mentors. Sorry. Yeah. So this is from Quantum Life University, and I'll tell you all more about Quantum Life University after the presentation. And this is the organization to which I belong and of which I'm one of the founding trustees and managing trustee. It's called QLU, or Quantum Life University. And this is founded by Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi. And Sri Devi, my wife, and myself are the founding trustees for this. And I officiate as the managing trustee for Quantum Life University. And I wish to express my gratitude to my mentors, Brahmashri Chakravarti, Dr. Newton Kondaviti, MD, and Brahma Vidvarishta, Dr. Lakshmi Newton, his wife. And she is, both of them are medical doctors, but the best part of their journey is that they have not practiced conventional medicine even for one single day. They have completed their courses and immediately they decided that they are going to become soul doctors. And it's been an amazing journey knowing these two soul doctors for the past 25 years now. And in the year 2000, we started off as Life Research Academy, in which we first started off with this modality of past life regression. And that is why past life regression is so close to our hearts, because we came to be known primarily for the purpose of past life regression all over the world. And Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi came to be acknowledged as pioneers in the field of past life regression around the world. For more than 20 years, they've been working in this. They've visited more than 120 countries where they have given their presentations, taught, and given their address seminars in the field of past life regression, meditation, and spiritual science. So before we go on, I'm sure that all of us have some very fundamental questions about life itself, about what life is, and there's something that we really need to know. And these are the 5 questions that every seeker, everyone who is on the spiritual path and everyone who wants to evolve, grow spiritually, has these questions. The first question you must have heard very often is, who am I? What is my identity? What am I? What is my existence? And what is the nature of my reality? What is the nature of the reality in which I am living right now? This is a very fundamental question. Like if you have heard about or read about Sri Ramana Maharshi, his entire life journey and his evolution was based on trying to answer this very important question of who am I? The next important question is, you know that you have a life. Of course, right now we will not talk about whether there was a past life or a future life, but this life itself, does it have a purpose? I mean, are we all here just to live without knowing why we are here? Or is there some higher purpose to the life that we are leading here? So that's the second important question. The third question is, what happens after death? This existence that we have right now, this life that we have right now, is everything going to just finish after we die? Is there going to be nothing after that? Or is there something beyond that? Is there some kind of, some aspect of ourselves which survives beyond death, which continues? Is there something like that or no? So this is another important question. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to make any logical sense that we just live these maybe 100 years or so from birth till death, and there was nothing before that and nothing after that, and then we're living this one life. Then what's the whole purpose? I mean, why are we here and going through all this struggle for what? For what are we doing all this? So it's quite logical to think that there is something that must be surviving this so-called physical death that we experience at the end of this life. So what really happens after death? That's another important question. The next question is, of course, if we wonder about whether there's going to be something after death, then the other side we have what was there before we were born. So have we lived before? Was there some aspect of us which was already there in existence before we came into this lifetime? Or was it not there? I mean, what was it that was, what is the meaning of this whole life that we have? And was there something before it? And then another very fundamental question, the fifth and very important question is there something called destiny, or is there something called free will? So what is really true? Is destiny true? People believe that yes, there is fate and things happen because it was preordained, so to speak. But in that case, what is the role of free will? If it's everything is destiny, then what is the role of free will? But we also talk about having free will. We talk about the fact that we are created in the image and likeness of God, and the two fundamental things about the image and likeness of God. And here, image is a figurative term. It's not really to be taken literally, because God does not have any image. There is no form, shape, size, nothing that exists for the Almighty or all that is. But the image is, what is the image of God? The main fundamental image of God, when you think of God, is creator. So when you say that you are made in the image and likeness of God, so you are also a creator. Like God is a creator, you are a creator. And you have the same creative potential, the creative ability that God has. That's why they say we are all extensions of God, or we can say that we are like rays of God, or the same sparks of divine consciousness. So the sparks too have the same creative potential. So the image of God is the creativity that God has, or being the creator aspect that God has. That is the image of God. And what is the likeness to God? The likeness is that you have free will, that you can do pretty much what you want to do here. You can either become a Mahatma Gandhi or you can become a Hitler. You have that much of free will. And that's the second aspect in which we can say that we have likeness with God. So the first aspect is image of God is the creativity and being the creator, and the likeness of God is having free will. Now again, coming back to free will and destiny. So this is another question that we have. We sometimes develop some kind of an understanding about destiny, and then we say that it's all destiny, like preordained, but then what is the role of free will? So this is another big confusion that we all have. So what is the truth? So people spend lifetimes trying to understand this, and through our own research and through the experiential wisdom that we have by having interacted with done the regressions for many people who have experienced multiple lifetimes and seen their evolution across lifetimes, we have come up to some understanding. Of course, all of this is not new. A lot of this is all available in many of our spiritual literature. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, it's all this is already there in that, except that you just have to understand the whole Bhagavad Gita to be able to understand all these concepts. So these are the 5 important questions that we all have. And past life regression is such a wonderful tool because it gives you answers to these fundamental questions of our own existence. So we all need to know the truth about our own existence here. And in that sense, you know the challenges that seekers of truth face. Because we always like to see the truth from our own perspective and through our own perception that we have. So we are like those blind men and the elephant, and we'll always look at truth and say, no, this is the truth. And that's why we have so many versions of the truth which are floating around today in the world, because everyone has experienced something which they believe is the truth, but it's actually just one part of the whole story. But since we hang on to that as the truth, so we have so many conflicts and so many points and counterpoints and views and counter views which are there in the world today. So we need to develop a more broader, more objective, at the same time, much deeper way of understanding what we experience so that we can gain more from these experiences and greater understanding can be derived from these experiences. So openness is what we need. We can't say that since I've experienced this, this is the only way it is. And in that sense, past life regression it's a very, very open field because it embraces almost any other alternative form of healing or different kinds of alternative modalities. Everything can be integrated into the regression work because it doesn't conflict with any other truth that is derived from any other systems of alternative healing or different kinds of healing modalities. That's the best part about the regression work. So that is the reason we have many people who are into different fields of alternative healing like Reiki or pranic healing, homeopathy, and different kinds of energy medicine. They all have also learned past life regression and they apply this and use this for their clients or for the people whom they want to help through their processes and modalities. So regression work helps us to undergo a very deep transformation. So when we look at the transformation, it's about how a caterpillar becomes like a butterfly. But it has to go through a stage, which is like the cocoon stage, which is the stage where we need to go inward, where we need to understand that everything that we really need to know is already there within us. And we need to adopt practices, spiritual practices, meditative practices, and also processes like regression, which help you to go deep into your subconscious, because the subconscious is nothing but the repository of your entire soul memory. Everything that your soul has ever done from the time it has emerged from source till now, it's all there in your subconscious mind. You may not remember that consciously because consciously you only deal with what is your current set of activities and your mind focuses on that. So your conscious mind works on your current reality, but your subconscious mind has all your past stored very sacredly inside, like a high fidelity recorder. Nothing ever escapes. Nothing can ever be forgotten. Nothing can ever be erased from that, infinite recorder where everything is stored in it. So that's your subconscious mind for you. So in regression work, we work with the subconscious mind because everything that's there is already inside. So it means that when you go into your subconscious mind, you can relive all the past lives that you've had. But of course, there are thousands and thousands of past lives. Is it really necessary that we must go through all of them? Not really. I'll come to what are those lives that we really need to tap into or awaken those memories, and why do we do that? So I will talk about a few things which we need to take as the truths, whether we believe them or not. For now, just take these as valid facts, just take these as universal truths, and just go along with me on this for some time, and then you will get to understand why past life regression can help, or in what way it can help. The first thing is that this is not your first existence on earth. Now, if you say that I don't know whether I really lived before or I didn't live afterwards, and this is my only life, then obviously past life regression will not work with that logic. That's why I said for some time, just go along with me on this, stay with me on this, on these 4 or 5 points that I'm going to tell you. And later things will become clear to you, and maybe after that it's up to you whether you want to accept. Like I said, I'm not here to prove reincarnation or prove that past lives exist. I already know about its truth and I have accepted that truth. And I've also seen that accepting that as truth and exploring past lives and awakening and clearing the blocks that we carry from the past lives, clearing the limitations that we carry from our past lives, brings about tremendous healing and transformation amongst people. And I'm here to share that with all of you so that you can use that to improve the quality of your own life by transforming yourself like a caterpillar transforms and becomes a butterfly. So I come back to these few points that I would like to say. The first being that this is not your first existence here on earth. You've lived before. This is a life that you're going to have now, and you will continue to live after this. So there is an aspect of you which is always there. It is always alive, and it was always there, it always is, and always will be. That is the eternal aspect of you, which we can call as the soul. So now we introduce the concept of the soul. It's not new to us. We all know, we've read the Bhagavad Gita, we've read India is the land which has some of the greatest wisdom in the form of its great scriptures, which are thousands of years old, and all of these talk about the fact that the soul is immortal and the soul goes through many incarnations, and every incarnation is here to learn something and to evolve. So that brings us to the third point. And the third is that we have reincarnation. The soul reincarnates, and every time it chooses a different body and it goes through different bodies, and it continues to evolve through this process of reincarnation. So we'll come to that point as well later. And the fourth is that you create your reality. Now this is another great truth. You create your reality. In the Bhagavad Gita it says, Yad bhavam tad bhavati. Yad bhavam tad bhavati, which means as you think, so you are. Your thought becomes your reality. Your life is nothing but a reflection of your inner world of thoughts. So whatever you think inside, that becomes your outer reality in the physical world. And that's another great truth. It's another universal truth. Again, take this as a truth, and then we'll go along with this for some time, and then the bigger picture becomes clear to you. Once the total picture becomes clear, then it's you will really know the whole aspects about your own reality and why things are the way they are right now. So this self-knowledge leads us to, in order to gain self-knowledge, we need to go through this process of self-discovery. And past life regression is one of the most powerful processes for self-discovery. Meditation is the most fundamental and you can say the foundational spiritual practice that we all must practice. There is absolutely no doubt about that. However, there are certain experiences which we need beyond meditation in order to be able to go deeper and know ourselves more, to go into a greater level of self-discovery and thereby reach to a higher level of self-knowledge. We need other processes, and past life regression is one of those, because it opens up your soul memory to you, and your soul memory gives you all your past life experiences. So now we are talking about the soul memory, which has everything from the past lives, and we also talked about yad bhavam tad bhavati. As you think, so you are, and what is inside happens outside. Now, in the subconscious mind, there are many limiting thoughts and beliefs which we bring in from our past lives. And it's not only limitations that we bring into this lifetime. We also bring a lot of positive thinking and positive attitudes and positive beliefs into this lifetime. Those positive things are going to create the things in life which make you happy. Okay? And the negative things or the limitations that you bring in, they create those experiences in your life about which you're not happy. Essentially, there are two kinds of experiences which you face in life. The first are those with which you're happy, which give you satisfaction, which give you joy. And there are those other kinds of experiences which make you very unhappy, which you want to change. You say, I don't want this experience. I don't want to go through this experience. So definitely everyone will have both types of experience. And if you reach to a level where all your experiences are positive, then you become enlightened. And I think that's the goal that we all have right now. So you will find that there are always those experiences in life which you're not happy with. You're not accepting it. Either you're denying that experience and you want that somehow to be changed in your life. And now we say it is possible, but it's possible only by changing it from the inside. Unfortunately, most of us try to do all these changes by trying to change things on the outside, and that will never work because of this universal law which says that your thoughts create your reality. So you need to change things at the level of the thought, at the level of what is the root cause, because whatever is happening outside is happening because of certain thought patterns inside. So these are called in Sanskrit samskaras. The samskaras are what you carry from your past, and these samskaras are creating your present experience. So if you want to change your present experience, whatever you are experiencing right now in your life, then you need to change your samskaras. So you might say, how do I change my samskaras? Are they not hardwired? Are they not brought in along with me into this lifetime? And are they unchangeable? No, they are not. They can be changed. That's the best part. You can always go into it and then change those beliefs and patterns that we brought in from different lifetimes. And that is where we need to use processes like past life regression, because you go into your subconscious mind, and in the subconscious mind, you reach to those samskaras, you find out where this originated. So we need to find out where this pattern started. Every samskara starts with a pattern. Let us take the example of, say, trust. Let's say you don't trust people in your life now. So where do you think this mistrust began? It could have started in this lifetime earlier as a child. Probably you were let down on many occasions, and therefore you started not trusting people. So you developed a deep mistrust about people around you. And it could have also started from many incarnations before, because you could have gone through different kinds of experiences, and those experiences are something which led you to believe that people are not to be trusted. Had you come out of it with an understanding, okay, and now we come to the next point that I want to state. We are all gods. We are all rays of God. We are all sparks of divine consciousness. So in that case, there is no one who is more God or less God than us. Okay, that's another great truth. And we are not going to like hearing this, because there are those people whom we absolutely don't like in life, and there are those people whom we really like, and then say, how can they be the same? How can they all be equal? How can, the person whom I dislike so much intensely, that person is also God, and the person I like so much is also God? How can this be the truth? But then, friends, that is the truth, because we are all sparks of consciousness. They're all divine sparks of consciousness coming from the same source. We cannot be different. We are the same. But then what is not the same? It is your perception which is not the same. It is your understanding which is not the same. It is the fact that you have not realized your own divinity to the extent. So where we differ is in the extent to which you have understood your own divinity. That's why we say we say this person is God realized. We say this person is self-realized. Why do we say that? We say the person is God realized because that person has understood and accepted and really come to terms with their own divinity. And whereas the rest of us, we are still in the process. When we talk about, let us say, a Shirdi Sai Baba or Swami Vivekananda or as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, we understand, we can know that these people are really God realized, because there is every aspect of their thought process and their behavior and the way they talk to others and the way they deal with everyone else. It's all with the same thing, that just as I'm divine, you are all divine. Everyone, each one of us is a spark of divine consciousness. But it's not an intellectual understanding. It is completely there in every breath of theirs and every step of theirs. They live that understanding. So that's what we all are here to do. The only one agenda the soul has is evolution. We are here to evolve, and we are here to realize that we are all gods. That's the next point that we need to understand. And all this is the foundational understanding you need to know, or you need to have, before you can really understand past life regression. Because past life regression is a very, very deep process, and it goes directly to the source of your own existence. It touches the fact that we are all sparks of divine consciousness who have all originated from the same source. So now, how do we do that change? We have in the past had some experiences. Now let's come back to that experience of mistrust. You might have got betrayed in certain lifetimes. And then you develop this belief that people are not to be trusted. But if you knew that you are God and the other person is also God, and you also knew that you create your reality, then you would know that you had attracted those experiences because of your own thought process at that time. But at that time, you didn't know this. So you went along with this illusion. And I call that an illusion because it is nothing but an illusion. An illusion that the other person is bad, the other person is less God and you are more God. You being a victim doesn't make you more of a God than the other person. That's the reality. You were a victim of, let us say, a betrayal. But you attracted it because you didn't believe in trust. If you had trusted, now this is the irony, if you had trusted, you would not be betrayed. Because you didn't trust, you got betrayed. So what's happening here? Then you come to the next aspect of this whole thing that I'm trying to tell you, and that is lesson. If you have not learned a lesson, and what type of lessons do we learn? Every lesson that we as a soul learn or want to learn or set as our agenda to learn is that which makes us increase our understanding of our own divinity. So if you say that I don't trust that person because he is not worthy of trust, it means that you have not understood your own divinity and the divinity of the other person. So the problem always lies within ourselves, and this is very difficult to accept. We are always in denial of the fact that problems are within us. We always want to externalize the problem, and we always want to push the blame onto someone else and say that it's because of you that I have this problem, or just because of that person that I have this problem. Okay, so unfortunately, this is the reality. We need to accept the higher truth, and the higher truth is that you are creating all your challenges and situations in life. So you need to first fix that problem from the inside, and that can only be done by changing your understanding. And in regression work, we do this by helping you to uncover those memories of those situations in past lives where you develop this. Now again, I come back to the same example of mistrust. You go to those situations of betrayal, and then you understand before that what happened, what was your thought process, why you attracted that situation. And then you're going to release that with a new understanding, saying that now I know better. Now with my expanded awareness, with my greater consciousness, I can give you this understanding. I can now have developed this new understanding that yes, it was because of my own thought process that this whole situation was created, and therefore I'm ready to move on from that. And when you are ready to move on, then healing happens. So in your life now, you are not going to attract people who betray you anymore. This sounds very simple, right? And it is very simple. Unfortunately, people always want very complicated solutions. When we tell them that the solution is as simple as this, most of the times they don't believe this. They say that things can't be that simple. Problems can't be solved so easily. And they always are in the lookout for more and more complex and complicated solutions. Unfortunately, that is part of the nature of the mind. It always tries to keep thinking and thinking and trying to look and make things more complicated than they are. But the most powerful solutions, the most powerful transformations are always based upon the most simple and effective truths of the whole world. And this is something that we all need to understand. So we come back to this point of going to the root cause and transforming these changes, transforming this limiting belief that we developed at some point of time in the past. And once we transform that, now you are not going to create the same situations again. And that pattern stops over there. So practically, this has been done thousands and thousands. There are tens of thousands of past life regression practitioners around the world, and almost tens of millions of people would have actually got regressed. And in all their experiences, there are thousands of books, bestsellers like Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. He is a medical doctor, psychiatrist who was practicing psychiatry and then came upon past life regression, and he in fact accidentally discovered past life regression in the course of his practice, and then he was so convinced about its effectiveness that he went on to write many best-selling books, and he became one of the most famous persons in the field of past life regression. Although there were many even much more before him, but he became very famous because of the fact that he had the credibility being a medical doctor and a psychiatrist, and that really gave him a lot of credibility, and people were able to trust the writings that he was giving out and the teachings that he was giving. So friends, this is something that we can really, if you can all relate to these points, I'll come back, I'll just repeat it once again because it was quite a flow of thought and quite a sequence and progression of thinking that we did. The first, this is not your first lifetime. You have lived before, you're living now, you're going to continue to live again. The second, everything that you have done in every life till now, or every existence till now, is already there in your memory, and that's your subconscious memory. The third is that as you think, so you are. So if you have certain patterns of thought, certain beliefs which are already there in your subconscious mind, those are going to create your present experiences. So your past samskaras or your past beliefs which are there in your subconscious, even though you're not aware of them consciously, still they create your reality. So even if you had this belief that people are not to be trusted at the subconscious level, still you will attract betrayal in this lifetime, even though consciously you are not thinking about it like that. And that's what makes it difficult for us to predict the kind of experiences that we are having. But once we go inside and find out the root cause of the problem, then automatically we are able to come out of that particular pattern which is there within us. In this case, in this example, the pattern of betrayal can be completely stopped once you go to the root cause and clear that with understanding. And then the next point, of course, is that there's only one agenda for the soul. The soul is not here to try and become the most powerful person on earth, the richest person on earth, the most famous person on earth. None of that is the soul's agenda. The only agenda of the soul is to become more realized of their own divinity. That means you begin to realize your own divinity and you begin to practice your own divinity more and more. So I would like to give a wonderful statement that Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi said when one person asked him that Maharshi, how are we supposed to behave with other people? And Bhagwan said, there are no others. We are all one. There are no others. So that's the concept of Advaita, or the concept of oneness, or that we are all extensions of the same source. And there is that deep interconnectedness that we all share. And that's what the soul really wants to experience completely. Not just know intellectually in this physical body and in this mind, but to experience that kind of oneness. And that's the evolutionary path that every soul has. And in regression work, all we need to do is remove those obstacles towards that realization of oneness and the realization of the divinity that we are moving towards. And when that happens, we are all going to get healed and we are going to evolve. So now, friends, when you go through this process, we are going to do this processes up some time. You need to drop all expectations. Don't expect that I'm going to get regress, I'm going to see some past life, and I'm going to, connect with something. I have this pattern. I want to know where this pattern is coming from. All that is fine. I mean, that is obviously our goal. But just drop all expectations. Just think that I'm here just to have a nice relaxation and go deep and go into my subconscious and have some kind of an exploration experience. That's all. And then drop all resistance. Don't think. Just drop all your logical thoughts. Just go into, as fast as possible, go into a process, a state of completely no thoughts, no thinking at all, completely. I know it's easier to say that you should not think, but it's not as difficult as we think also. We can just drop. And the only thing that stops us from going into this no thought stage is the resistance. So drop all the resistance. Drop expectations, drop resistance, drop all your habitual, logical thought processes, and you will be able to get an amazing experience when you go through this. So you must have trust. Just trust in Yeah. So even if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you will move mountains. This is said by Jesus Christ. So you need to trust your capacity to recall. Don't think that, no, regression is not for me. Some people can regress, but I can't regress. Drop all these kind of beliefs. Trust in your own capacity. Everyone has the capacity. Everyone has the potential to be able to regress and to connect with their past lives. And trust your intuitions and feelings. The important thing here is that when you start experiencing something, you must trust the first thing that comes into your awareness. Like, I give you an example. If I give you a personality test with a lot of questions, if you think and give an answer, you're not going to give a correct assessment of yourself. the only way to give an accurate assessment of yourself is to be as spontaneous as possible. And so it is with this inner experience. You need to be as spontaneous as possible. The moment you get some experience, something pops up into your awareness, trust that that is the experience that you have. Because after that, your mind comes into the picture and it starts changing what you perceive about these experiences. So don't let that happen. Don't let the mind start getting into the experience. And you can do that by staying with the first experience that comes into your awareness. And trust your inner wisdom. We are all wise beings, not just from this one lifetime. We have the wisdom from thousands of lifetimes all there within us. So trust that it's all there, and all you need to do is to awaken that. So past life regression is a process of letting go of buried, painful memories and the retrieval of lost energies. And why do we say lost energies? Because when you go through a traumatic situation in some past life, then you lose energy. Okay? You lose energy over there. And that is where you have to regain the energy where you lost it. Anything that you lost, obviously, if you lost your car keys in a certain place, you lost it in a restaurant, you can't come and start searching in the house. You have to search in the place where you lost it. So it is with our own soul experiences. So when we lost some energy somewhere, we have to go into that time frame. And it is possible to do this kind of time travel in past life regression work, where you go into the subconscious, and in that state, which is called an altered state of consciousness, there is no past, present, and future. Everything is just in the present, eternal now. So you go into that, and then you retrieve the energies in exactly that time and space where you lost it, and you retrieve it and you reabsorb it, and therefore you become more complete. Because when you lost something, you are not complete anymore. There is an aspect of you, there's a part of your vitality, there's a part of your energy which is missing. Now the good part is that it cannot be lost from you forever. It's always connected to you. You can say by some thin thread it is connected to you, but it is away at such a distance that you cannot access that, and it cannot be used by you. So now it's about bringing it back and reintegrating that energy back into your being, into your consciousness, in a way that you can be more complete, completely full of your vitality and your soul energy. And that is how past life regression works. So now, why do we need past life regression? Why past life regression? So there are many answers for that, but I'll just share 2 or 3 points for why we need past life regression. Of course, what I've explained till now also makes it clear to you why past life regression is required. But now we also see why regression is required. Some couple of important points. Now let us take the analogy of reading a book. Now assume that every page is one of your past lives. And now you are somewhere towards the end of the book, the last few pages of the book. Assuming that we are all very close to achieving enlightenment, just a few lifetimes away. So we are somewhere now in the last few pages of the book. But we don't have any memory of all the previous pages or the previous lifetimes. Does it make any sense? Would you read a book from the last few pages? You won't, because you won't make any sense out of it. Similarly, we are not able to make sense out of our lives because we don't know what happened before. So when we do regression and find out the important aspects of understanding that we need, then we get the big picture. We get an overview of the entire story that is represented by your soul evolution. And then everything that is happening in your life right now begins to make sense to you. And that's the best part of why past life regression is required. Another example or reason, consider a jigsaw puzzle. There are hundreds of pieces. And right now, what you see in your life are just some of those pieces. So the whole story or the big picture is not clear to you. You're not able to make out why it is like that. So the missing pieces are nothing but the information from all your different past lives, which is relevant to this present life experience. So when you bring all those and fit those pieces together, then you can see the complete or big picture. And that's why we need to go into some of our significant past lives which are related to the issues that you are facing in the present lifetime. We don't need to see all the lifetimes. Let us say you have a certain issue or a certain set of issues. So when you intend that I want solutions for this, I want answers for these issues, then automatically you will go into those lives which are related, which have the root cause for these particular issues. And once you get that understanding, you get the big picture and you can solve these by changing the things at the cause. And like I said, you have to regain the thing where you lost it. You're going to search for something and regain it where you lost it, not searching somewhere else like we're all doing. We're all searching in this lifetime and in this dimension for a solution and the energies that we lost somewhere else. So let us search in the place where we actually lost them. Now, we all have four important aspects. Our existence has four important aspects: the physical body, the emotions, the mind, and of course, the soul. Now, in this picture, the physical body is represented by the chariot. Here you have a picture of the chariot with the charioteer, horses, and then you have the master of the chariot sitting behind. Then you have emotions. The emotions are represented by the horses. Then you have the mind. The mind is the charioteer. And then you have the soul, which is the master of the chariot, sitting behind and directing the charioteer, and through the charioteer, the horses, and through that, the movement of the chariot, which is the body. And we all have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is much more than the conscious mind. The conscious mind is just one small aspect of the mind, and the conscious mind is a tiny aspect. Subconscious mind is much bigger. Like the conscious mind is like the tip of the iceberg, and the subconscious mind is like the rest of the iceberg, which is under the water, which you can't see, which you can't really know about it. And like I said before, you create your reality. And sometimes people say that maybe I'm creating some of my reality, but part of my reality is created by some forces which are outside of my control. That's not correct. Everything that we create is created by us. We are creating our reality. not some of it, not most of it, but all of it. Now, when we go through the regression experience, we have different modes of perception. One is called the visual experience. The other one is auditory experience, olfactory, gustatory, and kinesthetic. So these are based on our 5 senses. The visual based on our sense of seeing, auditory based on sense of hearing, olfactory based on the sense of smell, gustatory based on the sense of taste, and kinesthetic is based on the sense of our touch and feeling. And we also have multisensory modes of perception, where people have experiences which are based on multiple senses. That is, you can have visual as well as auditory. That means you can hear as well as see in an experience. And all of us are basically a combination of this. We are multisensory, but in different proportions. So someone may be like, I'll just give some examples in the next few slides. Like someone could be 80% visual, 10% kinesthetic, and 10% all other things put together, like that. Or you could have someone who is mainly, the sense of touch or kinesthetic, and there could be 3% auditory and 2% olfactory, like that. So the total, in the entire 100%, we can look at it this way. Someone is 80% visual, 10% kinesthetic, and then they are 3% auditory, 2% olfactory, then around 3% gustatory, and 2% multisensory. So this way the total 100% comes. So every person would have a different combination, but these 5 senses are there. Then we have something called the left brain and the right brain. Our left brain determines the logical, linear, analytical aspect of our thinking and thought process, and the right brain determines the intuitive, creative, and extrasensory perception aspect of our thinking and perception. So in regression work and in deep meditation, you always will rely more on the experiences that come from the right brain. Therefore, it is good to have this left brain become more calm and silent. So you must give yourself suggestions before you start any regression process, that I just want my mind to be calm and not produce any thoughts and not go into any thinking. Then automatically you will start awakening more of your right brain, which is your intuitive and creative aspect of yourself. So now there are some other things about our own existence. One is called linearity. Only in the physical dimension we see things like past, present, and future. When you go into the non-physical state, or even in deep meditation, which is called altered state of consciousness, there is no past, present, and future. Today, quantum scientists, quantum mechanics, quantum physicists, they are able to understand that time is non-linear, that there is no such thing as linear time. But in this 3-dimensional reality, we do experience things as past, present, and future. In this dimension, we have cause and effect. Again, in the larger reality, non-physical reality, there is no cause and effect. Here we have cause and effect, which is also known as law of karma. Here again, we have duality and polarity. But in the larger reality, there is nothing like duality and polarity. When I say duality, there is the good and bad, and the polarity is like good and bad, and duality is that you are different and I am different. But in the larger reality, everything is oneness. And then there is density. Here there is physical density, because to make things into matter, you need to have a lower vibrational state. As you can remember from probably your high school physics, that the 3 states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. And let's take the example of water. Ice is a much more dense form, and then you have less dense form, which is water, and then the still less dense form is the steam, which is the gaseous form. And then there is amnesia. That is, every time you start a new lifetime, you forget all the past lives. All the memories of the past lives are forgotten only from the conscious mind, but they are there in the subconscious mind. These are the universal laws. One is law of reincarnation. Another one is law of karma. And karma is nothing but evolution, lesson and evolution. The law of karma teaches us lesson and teaches us evolution. Then we have then there is evolution of consciousness also. When we first came into the earth existence, we started off as mineral, then we went into plant lifetimes and then animal lifetimes, and now we are into human lifetimes. So there is a progressive evolution over here from different kinds of lifetimes. So now we go into clues. What could be different clues about your past life? Even without going through a regression process, you can get some understanding of different kinds of clues to your past lives. How you can know that there is something that is coming from my past life. There is some pattern or some kind of behavior of mine which is coming from past lives. First clue, that you might have an interest in a certain historical time period. The second clue is you may have fascination with a certain geographical area or setting, more than normal. That means you may be from India, but you may say, oh, I really have a fascination for Spain, let's say. So then it means that there could be some strong past life connection with that country. Then you may have interest in certain arts, artifacts, music, dance, something resonates with you. So there's something that you have done in a past life or past lives with that particular instrument or that art form. So your taste in fashion, jewelry and decoration can give some clue about what type of, like some people like very royal kind of jewelry. So probably they had some lifetimes as royalty, a king or a queen or a prince or princess or something like that. The kind of movies that you like, the kind of profession that you like. Like I once remember interacting with a small kid who was about 5 years old, and we, in a small meditation, he immediately connected to his past life, and he said that he was a cook in a past life. And his grandmother told me that yes, it probably is true, because he doesn't watch like other kids of his age. He doesn't watch Tom and Jerry or any of these things. He only watches these cookery shows on TV. So it's quite interesting that your interests and your likes have a direct connection to your past lives. Then sometimes you have child prodigies. You have someone reading the Bhagavad Gita at the age of 3, reciting the shlokas at 3 years age, or you have someone who starts playing the violin at the age of 4. So these are all clues that these persons have done a lot of sadhana in their previous lifetime, and now they're just continuing where they left off in that life. So then you have like childhood games and role plays. Like sometimes someone always wants to become the army person in that game. Someone wants to become a police officer. Surprisingly, some of them want to become the thief in that particular game. So it gives an indication of what they were in their past lives. So sometimes you find that a certain pattern keeps repeating in your life. So this is something which is coming from past lives again. Then you have physical reactions, sensations, emotions, different kinds of things that you get. These indicate past lives. The kinds of dreams and visions that you get, sometimes spontaneous visions, you may get spontaneous recall of past lives. there's this wonderful doctor, Dr. Ian Stevenson from University of Virginia. He's no more now, but he did a lot of research about children who were remembering their past lives spontaneously. And he actually went a step ahead, and whatever past lives they were talking about, he researched, he went to those actual villages or those places or towns where these people claim to have lived before, and he researched and validated their past lives. And he managed to publish all these validated cases. And that's amazing research, because now you have proof that these persons, whatever they have seen in their spontaneous visions, are actually true, because those kind of lifetimes were there. People with the same names, in the same circumstances, living in those same places, real lifetimes were there. Think deja vu experiences. You get this unmistakable feeling that you've already been there in that place before, although you know for sure that you have not been there in this lifetime. So it's possible that you have been there in that place in a previous lifetime. Or it could be the situation also. Maybe there is some situation where something very tense is happening, there's some argument going on, there are people, there is your the people around you, and you get a very strong deja vu experience. So it's not that you've been in the same place before, but you could have been in exactly the same situation in a different lifetime before. That also could result in what you call as a deja vu experience. Sometimes you have strong feeling about someone you just met. You have this thing called love at first sight, and there's also hate at first sight. You see someone and you begin hating that person from the very first moment you see that person. So these happen because your interactions in your past lives with those persons, they determine how you react to that person when you meet that person for the first time in this lifetime. Then preferences and personalities. What type of preference do you have? Do you have the preference of being an angry person, and you try to keep saying that, yeah, but that's the way I am always an angry person? Or I'm always a person who feels very superior about myself. That's also, it's a kind of preference. It's a personality preference. But this comes from your past life samskaras, from the patterns that you bring in from different lifetimes. And then even jokes about past lives. We sometimes accidentally make some kind of jokes about other person, saying, oh, you must have been a princess in your past life. And it's quite true that that person actually could have been a princess in the past life, because because we are all energy beings, and we also have intuitively, we have a lot of understanding about each other. And sometimes we look at a person, we don't have to really ask the person's whole life story to know certain things about that person. And in the same way, we can also sense their past life. And there are things like synchronistic experiences. Some of your synchronistic experiences also give you clues about your past lives. So now we are ready to actually go into this process. In fact, there are two processes, one mini process and then one longer process. I'll explain what this mini process is. So what we could do is, we could have a small break. People could just have some water or just something, so that there's a small break, and we can all rejoin in maybe just 2 to 3 minutes, and we can actually start this process, because I want people to be in a very relaxed and comfortable frame of mind when we begin this whole process. And meanwhile, the rest of you who are there can ask some questions if you have any doubts. Yes.
So I suggest everyone to get ready for this process. And the first process is to understand how you So how do you feel, how do you sense these feelings and sensations? Like Mr. Rajashekar has mentioned the 5 different senses. And the second one is a short past life regression process. And we're going to finish this. We're going to keep it short because we need to close this session by 7. So we try to finish these processes latest by 6:45. And after that, you can ask questions.
That's fine. Just you can tell me when we are ready to go.
Yeah, we can go. We can start right now.
We can start right now. Okay, good.
Yes, please.
So I want you all to sit in a comfortable posture. If you're sitting on the floor, you can sit cross-legged and keep your hands, cross your feet. If you're sitting in the chair, cross your feet at the ankles. Clasp your hands, interlock your fingers, close your eyes. Take 3 deep, relaxing breaths. Just 3 deep, relaxing breaths. Good. Beginning to relax. At this point of time, you have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just be here and now. Completely be with your breath. Just follow your breath. Follow how your breath is going in and how it's going out. And bring your entire attention to the breath. And notice how every part of your body begins to relax as you go into this awareness of the breath. Just feel this wonderful healing energy and relaxing, soothing light entering into you with every breath that you take and spreading throughout you into each and every cell. And with every breath that you take, you go into a deeper and deeper state of relaxation. Your ankles, feet, soles of your feet are getting completely relaxed. And the relaxation spreads up into your legs, further spreading up into your knees. Your knees feel completely relaxed now. Any discomfort in the knee joints, it dissolves completely and the relaxation spreads upwards into your thighs, waist, abdomen, lower back, completely relaxing every part of you. Your stomach feels relaxed, all the uneasiness gone. And you can feel this energy everywhere, in every cell. You can feel that healing, relaxing, soothing, calming energy. And now the relaxation moves into your chest. And your breathing becomes easier, lighter, almost effortless. It's as if you're not even aware that you're breathing. Now your hands, shoulders, neck, throat, everything gets completely relaxed. And the relaxation moves further up into your jaws, mouth, cheeks, nose, eyes, and forehead. So your eyelids are feeling heavier, heavier, and heavier. It's as if even if you try to open your eyes now, you can't open them because they're feeling so heavy, so heavy. Your forehead feels completely relaxed. Even your scalp feels completely relaxed. And now this relaxation has spread from head to toe. Every cell, every part of your being completely relaxed. If you still notice some part which is not relaxed, just allow it. Give it the permission to relax. Let it know that this is the time for relaxation. And let it relax completely, deeply, fully, totally. And in this deep state of relaxation, I'd like you to now visualize yourself visiting a wonderful place of great natural beauty, a place of nature, perhaps in the mountains, in the hills, in the valleys, on the riverbank, on the seashore, in the forests, anywhere, wherever your experience takes you. Just see yourself going there, and being fully connected to that place. Just look around you, see, smell, feel, hear, and sense, even if you can get the taste. Can you taste the air around you? Can you smell it? Can you see everything clearly? Feel the earth beneath your feet. Feel the air going into your nostrils as you breathe. Is it warm or cold? Look at the trees. What are the colors of the flowers? Become aware of what type of perception you have. Are you getting clear visual experiences? Are you getting more kinesthetic experiences? Or can you hear in your experience? Can you smell and taste in your experience? Or can you get a combination of these experiences? Just make a mental note of this and know that most of your experiences will come in that form. So don't condition yourself into believing that you must get only visual experiences. Understand what is your perception type and know that you will get more of your experiences of that perception type. And in that wonderful place of nature, connect fully to that place. You're there all alone. And this place is your inner sanctuary. It is a place that you can always visit whenever you want. You can go there, be there, to be with yourself, to seek answers from your higher self, to seek inner guidance. Anytime, anywhere, in your meditations, you can be there, you can go there. This is your inner sanctuary. This is where you can go to be completely with yourself, with your higher self, and with your inner guidance. And now, I'd like you to visualize one huge house in the distance. I want you to begin walking towards that house. As you come closer, you find that this house has many floors. It's like a huge multi-storied building. You enter the gate and you go inside. You reach to the lobby and you find that there are almost 50 floors in this building. And there are 5 elevators. Each one serves 10 floors only. And you look around and you go towards one which beckons you. You somehow feel drawn towards that elevator. And you go there and enter. So this could be either the 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, or 41 to 50. Any one of these, you could be going to any one of these sets of floors. And you enter, the elevator closes, and then again, without knowing why, you press one of those 10 buttons for one of the floors. You go to that designated floor, and the door opens. And you go inside, enter that corridor, and there are a row of apartments. Each of them represents a positive quality that you had in your past life. Go past, and you will be drawn to just one or two of them, of these apartments, which you are going to explore by entering into those apartments. Now, trust the first impression that you receive. What are those qualities that you had in that lifetime? And once you are in that apartment, you look at the qualities which is represented by that apartment. And as you stand there, that entire past life memories open up to you. And you begin to connect fully to those memories. And one by one, the experiences of those times in that lifetime become clearer and clearer to you. And you can see step by step how that life unfolded and how these positive qualities played a very important role in that lifetime. Were you male or female? How old were you? Who were the people around? Do you recognize any of those people in this present life? They may be in different form, but when you look into their eyes, you can know unmistakably whether that person is known to you in this life, and if so, who that person is in this life. How was your relationship with that person or persons whom you know in this life? Do you see any pattern which continues into this life? Just progress to the next significant turning point in that life and notice what is happening and see if there are any other people from this life whom you encounter. Again, proceed to the next significant turning point in that life what's happening. Just make a mental note of everything. And now go to another significant event or turning point in that life. And watch what is happening. And now proceed to that time when you're about to vacate the body, to the end of that lifetime, when you're ready to move on from that life. What's happening? What was the cause of your death? Who were the people around you? What was the last thought that you had when you were about to vacate the body? Just see your soul leaving the body, and as that soul, look at your body from above. Know that you are still alive, that there is no such thing as death. It is just that one lifetime which ended. And from that soul state, you look at yourself and the people around you. Just make a quick review of the life that just ended. And consider what was the lesson that you learned in that life. What is the single most important lesson that you learned in that life? Look at what are the similarities between that life and the life that you are leading right now. What are the patterns that you brought into this life? And the skills and talents that you brought into this life from that lifetime. They might have been dormant till now, but now that you know that you had these skills and talents in that life, I want you to tell yourself that now you're going to awaken this skill and talent so that they can help you to awaken your potential, to fulfill your potential. And with that complete understanding about the lesson that you learned, about the last thought that you had, and bringing those skills and talents into this life, I want you to slowly start returning back coming back into this life, into this present moment, into your present waking consciousness. Just take a minute to come back fully into the here and now. Last 1 minute, and slowly start returning back. Anyone wants to share their experience can raise their hand. Okay, Rajini wants to share her experience.
Rajini, you may unmute yourself and share your experience, please.
We can have 1 or 2 sharings and then we can have questions.
Sure.
Just short sharing with brief details of the experience.
Okay, while the rest of them prepare to share, I want to share one experience. Actually, I was able to see a lot of them, and this happened the last time as well. That
Okay.
it's not one episode, and they're all disconnected. So,
Okay.
and these are just visuals. It's just continuous flow, and there's a visuals here and suddenly there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So actually, so you have what are called as fleeting images. Okay? Not specifically, you're not able to anchor into a particular lifetime.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So that in a real session, actual live session where we have one-to-one with a physical presence, we would have an agenda. We would have some intention. Right now, we don't have any intention for this particular exercise. It is just a general regression, more like a general exploration. So even the absence of a clear intent makes you to go drifting. Like suppose you know clearly where you're going to visit when you're driving your car, then you will go to that place. And if you don't know and you're just aimlessly driving around, then you will just pass many places without knowing where to stop, right? So that's sort of what happens in this case. So but that doesn't happen, but even it does happen even in a real life situation, but much less. In a real session, it also happens sometimes. But then there are techniques which we use, which are called anchoring techniques, where we help the person to come into a specific lifetime. Group regression, because there is no one-to-one interaction with the persons.
Yes.
I would know that you are going from one experience to another, whereas another person might be rooted in a single experience. So but in a one-to-one session, you are always continuously talking to the facilitator.
That's
so the moment you say that I'm seeing this, and again I'm seeing something else, and again I'm seeing something else, then we would guide you to stay in that same experience for long enough so that you can get some meaningful insights from that experience.
Correct. So first is having an intention.
Yes.
With a question.
The most important thing is to have an intention, because when someone comes for a regression, they don't come just for fun. They come because there is some issue which they want to resolve. So that issue, the intention of wanting to resolve that issue itself will take them to the relevant lifetime, as I already explained in the presentation also.
Great. Rajini is unable to. And so Srividya shared her experience. She says that she saw herself in an army and killed many men in the war. And that's why I have issues. Although the purpose was supreme, I used agony to, I caused agony to many families.
Right. Okay.
That's one. And I have.
So did she see something with respect to what kind of skill or talent was predominant in that lifetime? Because a kind of intention that we had was to go into some skills and talents, which are useful in this life.
She did not mention.
Okay.
However, Rajini, Miss Lakshmi wants to ask her question in Hindi. So I'm going to give the.
Yeah, I mean, if you unmute, then I can definitely understand Hindi. So.
Okay, you may now, whoever wants to share, you may now unmute yourself. You've been given the permission, and you may ask your question.
Hello, sir. Namaste.
Yes.
Hello, sir. I am from Andhra Pradesh, sir.
Okay.
सर मैंने अपने आप को एक ब्रिटिश वुमेन के रूप में देखा है.
Okay.
14th century सर. मैंने वहाँ देखा है एक पेपर में लिखा हुआ देखा है 14th century.
Okay.
वहाँ अपनी लड़का अपनी बहू और दोनों पोतों के साथ रहती थी एक फ्लैट में.
Okay.
मैं एक अच्छे से गाना गाती थी सर वहाँ तब.
Okay.
सिंगर सर मैं एक सिंगर सर.
हाँ, वेरी गुड. आपका कुछ नाम याद आया उसमें? आपका खुद का नाम क्या था उसमें?
जी सर, कोई भी मुझे नाम तो नहीं पता रहा, लेकिन मैंने कुछ आवाजें भी सुनी है सर.
ओके ओके.
डीपली इन्वॉल्व थी, आवाजें भी सुनी है सर, लेकिन नॉट परफेक्टली.
ओके. और अभी आप इस जन्म में भी आप गाती हैं?
हाँ गाती हूँ.
ओके.
जी सर, लेकिन आई एम नॉट ए सिंगर सर.
हाँ, आपको गाने में इंटरेस्ट है?
यस सर.
ओके.
गाने में इंटरेस्ट है, और उस जन्म में मैं एक फैटी वुमन हूँ सर.
ओके. आप मतलब आप खुश थी वो जन्म में?
इस जन्म में भी मैं ओबेसिटी से सर.
सॉरी?
अभी भी मैं फैटी हूँ सर.
अच्छा.
मतलब
ओके ओके ओके. हाँ. तो आप वो जन्म से जो आप अभी ये क्षमता आप लेके आए हैं ये गाने का, तो आप ये जन्म में और भी अच्छा गा सकती हैं अभी, क्योंकि वो स्किल आपको अभी ऐड हो गया है.
जी.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Mr. Arun has a question. He says, I could not experience anything. Does that mean I need to first learn meditation?
There are many factors. Like, it is not necessary that if someone has been meditating, they'll be able to regress more. Sometimes we have had people who have been meditating for 15-20 years, but still they can't regress even in 3 or 4 sessions. So our statistics is around 70% people are able to regress in 2 to 3 sessions. So it's not a negative thing if you're not able to regress, because this is just an online and that to a group session. In a direct one-to-one session, the chances are much better. You will have at least 70% chance of regressing. And even if you don't regress in 2 to 3 sessions, then you may need to do some more practice of meditation for about a month or so, and then come back. Then there's again better chances of regressing. So eventually everyone can regress. There's nothing like you can't regress.
Wonderful. I could see flowers. I felt like I was a forest. I could know any people in the house, and Yeah, she got a glimpse of pics of her relatives in this life. So she saw
Okay.
relatives back then as well.
Okay. Okay. So she could connect with some people whom she felt she knows in this lifetime itself, right?
Yes.
Okay. And anything about the skill or talent that could be connected to in the previous?
Amrita can speak up. Otherwise, I see that she's seen flowers and gardens, so it has to be something. And she said she was a florist, so maybe Ikebana is her thing.
Hi, sir. Yeah, I was able to see some flower garden, and behind that flower garden, I was visualizing a mansion that you're telling to see a big house.
Okay.
I went into the house, and there are 5 floors, and I was in the 40th floor.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, and I could see 1 or 2 doors opening up. It's like you're saying what kind of positive features, right? I was thinking about creativity, love, and affection.
Okay.
I was relating myself to as a person who likes flowers and creativity, and I was thinking I was a florist, but I could not see any people in the house,
Okay.
no their faces, but only 2 faces of my relatives I could see there.
Okay.
The house, just a glimpse of those people. So
Right.
I cannot figure out anything else, and I was blank after that and could not see anything or create anything.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, as we explore more in little longer sessions, then you can explore more. And one thing is clear is that you're a visual person. You could make out, so you're getting more of visual experiences. So you're visual. So can we also have any people sharing just experiences on chat to you, saying what they could make out about their perception type, whether they're visual or
Yes.
auditory or kinesthetic, like that.
Miss Rani wants to share her experience as well.
Okay.
While she unmutes herself, I will. There's another message. I do not know the name of the person. Says I had seen forest, wooden house, more nature. I saw a face, a shadow, like ghost. I could not remember anyone from past in this life. A small girl, a old lady cooking food, a belly dancer, a room highly decorated. So these are the visuals he got.
Fine. So definitely visual person and not able to relate to anybody in this lifetime. That's fine. It happens sometimes that you connect to people who are not known in this life.
All right. So I have another question. This was actually asked by audience earlier. That what happens when you're able to when you're blank? You're absolutely blank. You have seen something. Like for example, a part of today's experience for me, I have been able to see. At a certain point, I totally zoned out.
Okay.
So I remembered it till a few seconds before I opened my eyes, and once I opened, I just don't remember. So how does
Okay. There are multiple reasons for this, but the most common reason for it is that there is
there is
resistance. That means at some level you are not interested in remembering that experience. So probably deep inside, you know that there's something which is maybe traumatic or something that you are not ready to deal with at this point of time. So what happens is that you forget it. That's your way of keeping it aside.
this is your subconscious trying to protect you, so it just
It's more like that you feel you're not ready, so it's you're not wanting to deal with it right now. So it comes because of the fear of going into these kind of experiences. So you have to let go and trust the process. Understand that even the most traumatic experience that you go through, it can only bring about healing. It cannot make things bad for you in any way. That's a myth actually. A lot of people don't understand that the more intense the trauma that you uncover from inside of you, the deeper is the healing, the more profound is the healing. In fact, we are suffering more because of the fact that we don't know the pain exists inside. It's like you have a wound inside, you don't know where it is. And it's bothering you and it's giving you all kinds of illnesses and aches and pains and suffering. But once you know, and maybe when you're actually in the process of trying to find out that wound, the pain might actually, but it's well worth it, because once you do that, you're going to be relieved. You can actually get healed of that pain. So that's just an example and an analogy I gave you, but that's how it works even in this. So the trauma always needs to be understood.
May I request everyone?
Yeah, I think everyone needs to go on mute, or if you have a
I will mute. All right. I have one question. How does one go about booking a session with you? Oh, please unmute yourself, sir.
Sorry.
Okay, I've done it. Yes.
Okay. So so I'm just continuing the last part of it, where I said that we have this fear, but unless you go into that experience, it's the unknown that actually causes pain for us. When the unknown becomes known, healing happens. That's what the process, the concept of healing is like that. Even Sigmund Freud, he says that when the unconscious is made conscious, then that results in healing. So even Freud was doing regression. Only difference was that Freud did regressions up to childhood memories. He was not going into past life memories.
Okay.
Now, what we are doing is we're just extending the same concept to beyond this life into earlier lifetimes, and we are going into those traumas from earlier lifetimes. And once again the subconscious becomes conscious, then healing happens.
Correct. So in my case, maybe I should go with an intention, with a question.
With a question first, and also if you have any fears, just slowly let go of those fears and let yourself know that it is okay to experience. And even if it's traumatic, or even if it's some kind of scary memories, it's fine. It's you're going to come out of it fine. Like for instance, sometimes people ask me that, what if I have a very scary experience? Will I remain scared for the rest of my life? I say that we all have scary dreams, right? So are you scared for the rest of your life? You're not, because it's just like that. So it's not anything scarier than a scary dream. That's all.
Correct. So I hope I'm not scared. Conscious about it. However, yeah, I think this calls for a personal session so that I can explore more and understand why it is happening. So it brings me to that question Preeti asks, how does one go about booking a session with you?
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a number. So that's the number of my office, which takes care of the sessions, bookings for the sessions. And there are a team of therapists with us, past life regression facilitators. So even if I'm not available, then our team can help. So the way we go about is, first we have a meeting, and the initial meeting is free. It lasts about 45 minutes to 1 hour, in which we understand first why the person wants to come for a session. It's important for us to know what is their journey so far and why they feel it's important that they should have a past life regression session. And then we will also tell them what they can expect from the sessions. Of course, if they have gone through this presentation today, they may not need most of the meeting, but then it's still important because it's a one-to-one thing. So they can share aspects of their life and journey, which obviously was not possible in this.
And after that, you do another session.
Then we fix the timings for the session. So session won't be on the first day. First day is only for meeting, and that would be about 1 hour, and that's free. And after that, they can set up sessions for themselves. I'll give you a number. It's 984949.
984949.
2098.
2098. I have texted. I mean, I've
you can text this onto the group to everyone, and then I can
put it up there. So now the following sessions, usually how many sessions one require to overcome or find their answers?
Yeah, it varies from person to person. Sometimes people resolve their problem in just 2 sessions, maybe. Sometimes it takes 3 to 5 sessions. But the average that we find is somewhere between 3 to 5 sessions.
And is there a duration?
A session lasts around 2.5 to 3 hours.
Okay, and should there be a time lapse between or gap between 2 sessions?
Good question, but that also varies, depends on the experience that they had in the first session and what work needs to be done next. Sometimes there is a very good first session, but it's quite intense, so we allow some time to integrate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's good, intense, but we know that this person is able to go with the flow, so we can even have it on the very next day.
Perfect. So now that there is COVID,
The average gap is about 1 week between 2 sessions, average gap. But it can be as low as very next day and as much as monthly. You can have 3 sessions over a period of 3 months also. But beyond that, we don't recommend, because it's like it becomes too spread out. So they kind of lose the connectivity if it goes beyond a month between 2 sessions.
yes. So now that there is lockdown and because of the COVID times, people are little wary of coming in person. So do you do these online as well?
No, because the process is very intense, and at least we have the clear understanding that it should be done only person to person. Secondly, we have created a space here, which is a safe space, and it's also a space meant for healing. Okay. Now, when we do a session for somebody, they're going to be in their environment of their house or some place, which is not the best place for doing a session.
Great.
Because they are in an environment where people are around them. And even if they open up, sometimes they may not be even comfortable to open up in their own house.
Correct. So Ruchita has a question. She asks, sir, but can I know how much we have to spend for each session? Is it very costly?
It is 2,000 rupees per session.
2,000 per session.
Yeah.
And do we have to do any breathing exercise before we start these sessions?
No.
Okay, great.
Only the meeting is important, and the meeting is free. So meeting is compulsory. In fact, without the meeting, we don't give any sessions.
Great. All right. So Ruchita and everybody got their answers, and that brings us to the end of the session. If you have
can I just ask one question? Is it okay?
Srividya, I'm sorry, we're running out of time. There is another session.
Okay, sure.
But we have already given a number in the chat. So I recommend you to call them and find the information, because you have else also. I think you have more
than
one question to answer. So yeah, the number has been mentioned. If you all want, I'll repeat it one more time. If you please note it down. It is 9849492098. All right. So you all may reach out to this number if you have any questions. You want to go through these processes. Rajashekar sir and his team will be happy to answer. All right. I'm sorry, since we have scheduled time, we are unable to take it any forward at this moment. But I hope this session was useful to you all. And Rajashekar sir, thank you so much for taking out time and taking us through this experience. And I'm sure a lot of them have found some gifts and some potential, and that will enhance their lives now.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to give this presentation and share this session with you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
Good evening.